Hey there, so today we have another review, and this is a beer from Schlafly. This is their pumpkin ale. So this is a beer that I've actually reviewed quite a while ago. I did a blind taste test, and it is one of my favorites. I also believe it's considered one of the best pumpkin ales you can actually find out there. So really delicious, 8%. Let's dig into the beer. So the beer comes in a deep copper to a brown color, off kind of brownish head, a little bit of like yellowish kind of brownish hue to it. Let's get the aroma on this one. Ooh. So this is not straight just cinnamon. It has a beautiful complexity of nutmeg driving in there, the allspice. It hits a little bit of that kind of peppery allspice note in the back end. Nutmeg drives pretty aggressive on this one. A little bit of kind of like sweet caramelly kind of malt, brown sugar for days. Cheers. Ha! That's delicious. Brown sugar up front for days, not light brown sugar, not medium, but dark brown sugar. It is baking brown sugar. It is dark. It has caramelly notes to it. It has this kind of like nice kind of charred creme brulee kind of flavor. So really the malts sing on this one. But it's a pumpkin beer. But I'm talking about the malts. That's where this beer excels. It is still a great, think of a kind of American brown ale with the roasted kind of coffee edge to it sort of taken away. It is a beautiful Imperial brown ale-ish kind of base from what I imagine what the recipe can be. And then it is beautifully spiced, but I think that's where pumpkin beers can really do well, where the base beer, I mean, it's common sense with brewing. It's common sense with beer. You want the beer to be good, and if you're gonna throw in those flavors, don't have it hide what the beer can be. Have the beer stand up by itself, and then play around with the flavors afterwards. And that's what this pumpkin beer sort of excels at. I wish I could try the base recipe. I'm sure it's actually a delicious beer as a base recipe. It's nice and sweet. It has a beautiful malt character, and then the spicing does a good job drying out the beer, offering complexities. As you drink it more and getting some raisin, dried fig, more of that kind of spicing coming through. But man, as I drink this more, I really think about the malts and the complexity of what this sort of tastes like. It's really like, what do I want to think? I'm thinking less, sorry, pumpkin pie than I am thinking about like something like Christmas fruitcake. Because it has those dried fruits and the deep malt in there, and then the nutmeg comes in, the allspice. So this is honestly a little bit more driving towards that Christmassy kind of flavor profile than it really is that fall, Halloween, pumpkin-y flavor profile, because the cinnamon is not that bright. It is there. The cinnamon is bright and spicy, and it's still there, but I like where this drags a little bit more deep and rich, and I think this is where the beer excels, because again, it is a bigger beer. It's an Imperial beer. It's 8%, whereas a lot of your pumpkin beers can range from 5, 6, 7, and you have bigger ones, but this is an Imperial one for sure. It's still pumpkin beer. It's still pumpkin beer. It's not winter beer for sure, but it leans a little bit towards that. That's what I'm trying to say. This beer is also extremely sneaky. 8%, you cannot perceive this at all. The beer is wonderfully dry. It has a little bit of that syrupy sweetness on the back end. You get a little bit of that malt and the caramelly sweetness and brown sugar I was talking about, but it does not come off at 8% at all, and it does a great job. And this is where I like thinking about beer again. I mean, we go back to the days of like, man, remember your first Enjoy By. Remember when pumpkin beer was super hype instead of the New England style IPA, and now we're all focused on New England style IPA and Pilsner and a craft lager, and these beers are sort of, they're still sold for sure, but it's nice to go back to these beers because like, honestly, if I go back to last year, I don't know if I reviewed a pumpkin beer. I'll have to look back, but this is absolutely delicious. It is not a beer to obviously go back after one after the other, but it is a good beer to share, and it's a good beer to pair with food. It's also a good beer to just think about pumpkin beer. When was the last time you had a pumpkin beer? Post in the comments below. What is your favorite? This is delicious. As for rating, let's go with a 91. You know what? As I drink it more, it has a little bit of that Belgian quality because the spices drive in more, and it's a very sneaky beer to almost sing towards like Belgian double, and that's where the complexities ride. And this beer is actually more complex than what you think it is, than more than simply a pumpkin beer. This beer is actually getting a 93 from me. Absolutely delicious. Until next time, guys. Cheers. Enjoy this one. It is very complex. Later.